Investors continued to hit the like button on Thursday after Facebook's third quarter earnings were better than expected. Stocks climbed almost 5% before the close of trading Thursday. Facebook revenue reached $4.5 billion in the third quarter of this year. Compare that to $3.2 billion in the same time last year. So what's behind the surge? Let's bring in Ian Sherr, who's the CNN executive editor. It's nice to talk to you today, Ian.
My pleasure.
What do so many people like about Facebook?
So what's really working for Facebook right now is mobile devices. These phones are really changing the dynamic of how Facebook is working. They find that most of the mobile advertising now they do, it's more than 2/3 of their advertising revenue is coming from mobile devices. And specifically, they're getting people to use Facebook even more. Nearly 15–20% of the time that people spend not working on a mobile device is spent on Facebook, which is incredible when you think about it. It's about half of the world's online population is on Facebook. That's a larger group of people than we've ever had before under one internet service. It's quite amazing to watch it happening. And part of that has been that they really have been able to build something that's compelling enough for people to use. And they're drawing in more people through projects like the flying drones that are beaming down Wi-Fi to sub-Saharan Africa. They're going to be releasing virtual reality goggles, which is another huge bet that they're making long-term to draw in more people. And they're doing stuff like changing the like button so that you can have stuff like emotions where you're angry or sad or whatever instead of just like, to encourage people to use it more. So all that stuff is playing out very well.
Well, because that's always a weird thing when someone posts a really sad, tragic story and you want to say, hey, I read it, it resonated with me, but I don't like it. You know,
exactly.
That's I noticed Twitter did the same thing too. They're changing it so that you don't have to favorite something. You can just like it instead. Maybe they're going to allow some.
Well, they went the other direction. They went from star to heart, right? So now I love everything, right? Which is going to be a different problem.
I'm so confused. When we're talking about money, though, I mean, I'm a daily Facebook user, and my grandmother is a daily Facebook user, and my little nieces are daily Facebook users. So you're looking at the whole gamut of generations going on there. I could not tell you one ad that I've seen on Facebook. So how does it translate to revenue?
Well, the advertising actually does translate to revenue. I know it sounds silly because you and I probably both think the same thing. I don't click on any ads, but a lot of people do. This is the same thing with Google, right? People do click on ads, especially when these ads mean something to them. But there's also other types of ads. So for example, video ads are very popular on Facebook. A great example, which has actually worked really well for them, was back during the World Cup in South America. They had a campaign that they did with McDonald's where they reenacted the best plays from the day using French fries. And all these types of things, you don't have to click on that, right? But if you watch it, they're going to make a little bit of money. And those types of things have been very successful for them. They're pushing even further. They're changing the types of ads that they offer. So for example, during this last quarter, they actually announced a type of advertisement that you can do in emerging countries where, you know, where internet is expensive or you have really slow connections, where you don't have to have video, but you can have kind of a slideshow of photos. So they're doing all sorts of things to try and juice up this advertising stream. And a lot of it is, again, trying to make sure that these ads, not only you're going to click on them when you do, but you find them valuable enough to watch, to like, to all these types of things. Because over time, those things are worth something to Facebook too. And they convince advertisers to come to the platform, which is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I got to tell you, when I'm shopping online for, say, bunk beds, and all of a sudden I see an ad for the very same bunk beds I was just looking at online on my Facebook feed, it makes me think it's all too Big Brother for me. I don't like that. Let me ask you, when it comes to stocks, we saw the stock price jump to historic levels after closing hours. It was more than $108 per share. Yeah. When you talk to the finance guys, do they still think it's a good buy?
Well, the question is really, look, if you look at Wall Street is very happy with Facebook right now, no question. Investors are clearly very happy with Facebook because it's valued at the highest that it has ever been. But there are always overriding questions. For example, how many people can you get on this service, right? You've got half the world's online population. Could you get them all? And when you do that, where do you grow from there? There are a lot of questions that still exist around this company. But unlike Apple, where a lot of times the question is, can you really just sell more iPhones than the last time? I mean, aren't these numbers getting too large? With Facebook, they've been able to prove to Wall Street again and again now for the last 3 years that they're able to make more money off the people who are using its service. And the most incredible part, when you look at it, is they're making money off you and you're not even giving them the money. They're making that through advertising.
That's the way I like it.
Yeah, well, sometimes, but you feel creeped out as well by these types of ads, right? So it's a give and take. But the bottom line is that is really starting to make the difference for them. Now, could it go on? We've seen a lot of giants implode, and they've imploded sometimes very quickly. Let's think about AOL, for example. But those types of things, Facebook could be one of those companies that really has built themselves into our culture and be able to last for a while. We'll see. But right now, Wall Street's very happy with them, clearly.
I think it's like a drug. You get addicted to it, and you just can't quit it without a good 12-step program or some rehab.
Well, and consider this: that more than 2/3 of the people who use Facebook on a monthly basis, that means they log in once a week, are actually doing it on a daily basis as well. So I mean, more than 1 billion people log in at least once a day. That is a huge number. I mean, that's larger than most countries. And so that's what's really fascinating about how they are. But again, we don't know how long this will last. We don't know if this is a trend. We don't know anything. This is only a 10-year-old company. And if you think about the history of the world, 100 years ago, the list of companies that were at the top of the world are very different from today, and they may be very different 100 years from now.
And also 100 years ago, there was no internet.
That's true.
Much less Facebook.
Yes.
CNET Executive Editor Ian Sherr. Thank you so much, Ian, for joining us.
My pleasure.